Welcome to Daily English Talk.
Welcome back to Daily English Talk. I am Jack.
Hi, Emma.
And today we are taking a deep dive into a situation that, honestly, is pretty universally terrifying.
Oh, absolutely. It is a completely shared nightmare for anyone learning a new skill.
Right. So I want you to just imagine this scenario. You walk into a massive, brightly lit supermarket.
The kind with those really aggressive fluorescent lights glaring down at you?
Yes, exactly those lights. And your goal for this trip is incredibly simple. You just need a standard bag of flour. That is literally it.
Just one simple item. Should be easy, right?
You'd think so. But the second you step through those sliding glass doors, the directional signs hanging from the ceiling are in a language you are still, trying to figure out.
And the panic starts to set in.
Oh, big time.
Yeah.
You wander the aisles for 40 minutes, your heart rate is steadily climbing, and you are just completely overwhelmed by the sheer scale of the place.
And you are entirely too paralyzed by shyness to ask a single employee for help.
Exactly. So what happens? You end up fleeing the store, completely abandoning the flour, and checking out with a bag of sugar and 3 cans of cat food.
Even though you do not actually own a cat.
Right. You've just experienced what our source material today calls shopping silence. And as our deep dive shows, this isn't, it's not a vocabulary problem. It's a psychological hostage situation.
It truly is. I mean, buying that cat food is basically the ultimate retail surrender.
It really is.
And it's a surprisingly universal experience for anyone who has ever tried to navigate a foreign environment. The source we are analyzing today, from Daily English Talk, specifically their 7th episode called Where Are the Eggs? Mastering the Supermarket Run, tackles this exact phenomenon.
And what's interesting is on paper, this material is designed for A1 and A2 level learners, right? Like folks just starting out with English.
Yeah, exactly. But the psychological insights embedded in this lesson, they apply to you, or really anyone, trying to master a new skill under public pressure.
So our mission today is to completely unpack those psychological barriers. Like, why do you buy the cat food instead of just asking where the flour is?
We are going to explore the practical survival tactics the script teaches for navigating that high-stakes, fast-paced environment.
Because let's be honest, the checkout line can feel like an absolute gauntlet when you are out of your comfort zone.
Oh, completely. But before we can even look at the specific words or for phrases the source prescribes, we have to understand the invisible wall that stops you from speaking up in the first place.
The root cause of the silence.
Right. The script introduces this formal concept for this exact panic. It's a term from linguistics and psychology known as the affective filter.
Okay, I want to pause on that term, affective filter, because it sounds quite clinical. What is actually happening in the brain when this filter activates?
So think of the affective filter as this massive emotional barricade. It violently slams down when a learner experiences high levels of anxiety, self-doubt, or stress in a social situation.
So it's basically a defense mechanism.
Exactly. And when that filter activates, it physically alters how your brain retrieves information. The cognitive load just becomes way too heavy.
Because you're trying to juggle too many things at once, right?
Right. You are suddenly trying to remember flashcard vocabulary, formulate proper grammar, and process the store employee's intimidating body language all at the same time.
Plus, managing your own intense fear of looking completely foolish.
Yes. The threat response in your amygdala just takes over, and it literally blocks your memory retrieval centers.
Wow. So it really does not matter how much you studied your textbook the night before. If your affective filter is sky high, the language simply cannot flow out of your mouth.
Precisely. The knowledge is just trapped, which leads directly to that shopping silence we talked about.
That agonizing moment where you actually know the individual vocabulary words, like you know the English word for egg.
You know the word for milk.
Right. But the moment you make eye contact with a real breathing human being in a store apron, you just completely freeze.
It happens to the best of us.
I was trying to visualize this, and it feels exactly like playing a really complex video game.
Oh, I like that analogy. How so?
Where you can spend hours alone in the game's practice mode, right?
Yeah.
Memorizing all the individual moves for your character. You know the exact button for a punch, the exact button for a dodge.
Okay, yeah, I follow you.
But the second a massive boss battle begins, like the music swells, the enemy attacks, you completely forget the button combinations. You just start mashing the controller in a sheer panic.
That is a perfect way to describe it. You just mash the buttons.
But wait, let me challenge this premise for a second. Is shopping silence really just an anxiety issue? Or is it maybe a convenient excuse for not having practiced enough conversational English?
Well, it is fundamentally an anxiety issue. but it manifests as a performance failure because the learner lacks what the source material calls a functional template.
A functional template. Okay, break that down for me.
So, knowing a noun like the word egg is entirely different from knowing how to socially deploy that noun in a high-pressure, real-world interaction.
Okay, so if the root mechanism of this freeze response is a spiked effective filter, how do these functional templates actually solve the problem? Are they just like memorized sentences?
They are memorized sentences, yeah. But functionally, they operate as anxiety reduction tools disguised as grammar lessons.
Well, that's really clever. Disguised as grammar.
Right. Because when you memorize a full functional sentence, you do not have to build it from scratch in real time while a stranger is just staring at you.
You bypass the panic.
Exactly. You are completely bypassing the analytical part of your brain and relying on a pre-built automated response.
So having that template allows you to act, to push the right buttons in the video game, basically, even when your internal alarm bells are just ringing constantly.
You nailed it. It gives you an anchor.
Okay, since we know that bypassing the panic brain requires these templates, let's look at the specific verbal tools the source provides to shatter that silence.
Yes. The primary tool introduced in the script is what they call the polite template.
And it is remarkably simple, isn't it?
It really is. It goes exactly like this. Could you tell me where blank is? So you might approach an employee and say, could you tell me where the dairy section is?
Right. And the script notes that this is a high-frequency chunk of language that does two critical things. First, it is highly respectful.
And second, it is instantly clear to the staff member there is no ambiguity.
So the employee's response will almost certainly involve directing you to an aisle. They'll say something like, oh, it's an aisle 4.
And here, the script makes a very specific point to highlight a massive pronunciation hurdle.
The spelling of the word aisle.
Yes, it is spelled A-I-S-L-E. It has a completely silent S.
Which is so frustrating. But why does the source material dedicate time to pointing out a silent letter when the whole focus is on speaking, not spelling?
Because of cognitive dissonance. When you are a learner, you often visualize the words you are hearing based on how you learn them in a textbook, right?
Right. You're picturing the text in your head.
Exactly. So if an employee says aisle 4, and your brain is frantically searching its mental dictionary for a word spelled I-L-E, the discrepancy causes this micro moment of confusion.
And that micro moment is enough to spike the effective filter again.
Yep. By explicitly warning the learner about the silent S, the script removes a specific friction point that could completely derail their train of thought.
That makes perfect sense. You're basically clearing the debris off the runway so the conversation can land smoothly.
I love that imagery. Yes, exactly.
But the script goes much further than just basic directions, right?
Uh-huh.
It introduces something called a pragmatic strategy.
Oh, this is where the psychology gets really fascinating.
Yeah, the scenario given is that the learner is looking for organic eggs, and they are just staring at an empty bottom shelf.
A classic supermarket dilemma.
Right. And instead of using blunt, broken phrasing like, no have, the learner is taught to ask, is this in stock?
Such a powerful shift in phrasing.
But let me push back on this because it seems a little contradictory. If this script is strictly for A1 and A2 beginners, isn't something like, do you have eggs? So much simpler to remember than, are these in stock?
That is a very fair point.
Why deliberately complicate the vocabulary for someone who is already anxious?
You are absolutely right that do you have eggs is grammatically simpler. And a store clerk would definitely understand no have too.
So why not just use that?
Because the source material's focus here is on pragmatics, the social use of language. In stock is the exact vocabulary that retail culture uses internally.
Ah, okay. So how does using their internal language change the interaction for you as the shopper?
It signals to the employee that you understand and respect their retail system. When a learner uses a phrase like in stock, it immediately elevates them.
They upgrade from sounding like a confused tourist who needs extra patience to sounding like a savvy consumer.
Exactly. And that fundamentally alters the employee's body language. Their shoulders drop, their tone normalizes, and they just treat you as an equal participant in the transaction.
I see. It completely changes the power dynamic between the shopper and the employee.
It does. And more importantly, it changes how the learner views themselves.
Oh, that internal shift.
Right. Using the correct industry jargon, even a tiny phrase like in stock, provides this massive psychological confidence boost. It proves to your own brain that you can operate smoothly in the real world.
Which in turn drastically lowers that effective filter for the rest of the shopping trip.
You got it. It's a snowball effect of confidence.
Okay, so these templates get you through the aisles, where you can essentially wander at your own pace and sort of control the interaction.
Right, you set the pace.
But eventually, you have to pay. And the moment you step up to the cashier, you lose that control. The true final boss of the supermarket run, according to the script, is the checkout line.
Oh, the checkout line is an entirely different ecosystem from the aisles. The interaction moves incredibly fast.
And there's usually a line of impatient people standing right behind you, just silently judging your speed.
Talk about an effective filter spike. And the entire exchange there relies heavily on invisible cultural norms.
Yeah, the source material refers to this as the customer service formula. Cashiers operate on a very predictable, almost robotic script.
They do. For example, they will almost always ask, "Did you find everything okay?"
And the lesson teaches that a simple "yes, thanks" completely suffices. Or, if you are feeling brave, it's an opening to say, "Actually, I couldn't find the salt."
Recognizing this as a fixed formula is vital for survival. If you do not know it is a formula, you might take the question super literally.
Oh no. You might start giving the cashier a highly detailed 10-minute recounting of your emotional journey trying to locate the flower.
Exactly. While the line behind you just grows completely furious.
It's like a conversational handshake. You don't have to consciously think about how to shake a hand.
Yeah.
Your muscle memory just takes over.
That's exactly what it is. Recognizing the formula means you know your cue to just deliver the automated response.
Which frees up your brain's processing power to focus on actually paying for your groceries.
And you need that processing power because the volley continues immediately into payment and loyalty programs.
That's right. The rapid-fire questions about rewards cards.
Yes, and then there are modern payment instructions. For example, the cashier might say, "Your total is $12.50. You can tap when you're ready."
Tap when you're ready. That is such specific phrasing.
It is. Tapping is a perfect example of a cultural evolution in language driven by technology. It refers to contactless payment, right?
Yeah.
Whether you are hovering a credit card or a smartphone over the reader.
Right, because 5 or 10 years ago, the instruction would have been swipe or insert.
Now it is tap. And if you do not know that specific verb, the physical action at the register just comes to a grinding halt while you stare blankly at the machine.
Just a complete freeze. To help avoid those exact moments of paralysis, the script offers some really fantastic pro tips for decoding the store environment.
Oh, I love this section.
Yeah, it covers understanding that markdowns, or clearance items, usually have yellow stickers. It decodes the acronym BOGOGO, buy one, get one free.
A very important acronym for your wallet.
Absolutely. And it emphasizes the crucial rule of BYO, bring your own bags, to avoid getting charged extra for plastic bags at the register.
Right?
But I have to ask, why does a source material treat these acronyms as psychological barriers rather than just, simple vocabulary words?
Because these acronyms act as an exclusionary language. Native speakers use terms like BGO and BYO to speed up their daily lives. They take them completely for granted.
They don't even think about it.
Right. But for an outsider, buy one, get one doesn't intuitively translate well. It kind of just sounds like nonsense.
So if you are standing at the register and the cashier rapidly asks if your item is BGO and you don't know what that means,
You immediately feel like an outsider. It reinforces the feeling that you do not belong in that culture, which instantly spikes your effective filter.
Okay, look, if the checkout line is this much of a cultural minefield, full of exclusionary acronyms and pressure from the people behind you, why not just bypass it entirely?
I know where you're going with this.
The script explicitly acknowledges the existence of self-checkout lanes. You can just scan the items yourself, pay the machine, and leave without uttering a single syllable to a human being.
It's true.
If the ultimate goal for you as the shopper is to get your groceries with zero stress, shouldn't a nervous learner just use the self-checkout every single time? It is the ultimate escape hatch.
Oh, it is an incredibly tempting escape hatch.
Right.
But here we really have to connect this back to the core mission of the source material.
Which is learning English.
Yes. If your only goal in life is to seamlessly acquire a carton of eggs, absolutely. Use the self-checkout. But if your goal is language acquisition and personal growth, the self-checkout is actually a trap.
A trap of convenience.
Precisely. Avoiding the cashier entirely robs you of the exact real-world practice you need to solidify those functional templates we discussed earlier.
Because you never actually use them.
Exactly.
Yeah.
If you never test the polite template or the pragmatic strategies under the fluorescent lights with a real person, your effective filter will never permanently come down.
You will just remain terrified of the interaction forever, always relying on the machine to save you.
And the goal of this educational program is not just to help you survive getting groceries. The goal is to help you conquer the environment so that it no longer dictates your emotional state.
Okay, so if avoiding people at the self-checkout leaves you trapped in fear, then how do you actually conquer it?
This is where the script gets a little wild.
Yeah, the source proposes a solution that feels almost confrontational. They introduce this highly interactive, communicative mission to force learners violently out of their comfort zones.
They really want to break that cycle of avoidance, so they introduce a method called the Secret English Shopper Challenge.
Okay, tell me about this.
The first step relies on a technique called soliloquizing, which is basically a theatrical term for talking to yourself out loud.
In public.
In public, the script instructs learners to walk through their local grocery store, even if they are in their home country where English isn't spoken, and out loud say the English names of the items as they place them in their baskets.
Wait, why out loud? Why not just think the word apple as you grab an apple?
Because thinking the word does not build motor memory. Soliloquizing physically trains your mouth and your vocal cords to produce the sounds while performing the physical action of shopping.
Oh, I see. It links the physical action to the vocabulary.
Exactly. It acts as a crucial bridge between silently reading a textbook in your bedroom and speaking publicly to a cashier.
But they do not stop at just muttering to yourself. The ultimate test in this source material is what they call the 30-second voice memo challenge.
This one is intense.
It is. You are instructed to stand right in the middle of the grocery aisle, pull out your smartphone, and record yourself running through a simulated script.
In the middle of an active store.
Right in the middle of the store, surrounded by other shoppers.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. And the script you have to record goes exactly like this. You ask an imaginary staff member, excuse me, where can I find the... And you insert your favorite snack.
Okay, so where can I find the potato chips?
Exactly. Then you pause, pretending they answered you, and you reply out loud, "Thanks. Is it on sale today?"
Oh, my goodness.
And you conclude the recording by imagining you are at the checkout counter, stating loudly, "I have my own bag, thank you."
That is a deeply uncomfortable exercise for anyone, let alone someone learning a new language.
Hold on, I need to stop you there. We just spent 20 minutes talking about how the ultimate goal is to lower the effective filter, right?
Right.
Doesn't standing by the potato chips, talking loudly to an imaginary employee, and intentionally getting weird looks from strangers completely spike your anxiety? Isn't that totally counterproductive?
It sounds super counterproductive, but the script completely acknowledges the discomfort. In fact, it relies on it.
How so?
They explicitly state that if people look at you funny while you are doing this, it is a good thing. They call this process awkward therapy.
Awkward therapy. I am absolutely obsessed with that concept.
It is brilliant because what they're really building is what psychologists call social resilience.
Social resilience. Okay, unpack that for me.
Well, so many learners operate under the crippling false assumption that fluency equals perfect grammar, perfect vocabulary, and a flawless accent.
Right. They want to sound like a native speaker immediately.
But true fluency is much messier than that. True fluency is mostly about emotional durability.
Explain how standing in an aisle talking to your phone builds emotional durability.
It is the ability to open your mouth, make a glaring mistake, sound entirely foolish to the people around you, quickly recover your composure, and keep the communication flowing without having a full-blown panic attack.
Ah, I see.
By intentionally doing something a little weird in public, you're proving to your own nervous system that looking foolish is not actually fatal.
You survived the weird look from the stranger in aisle 4. The world didn't end.
Exactly.
So getting caught talking to yourself by a stranger is basically taking your ego to the gym. You are building a callus against embarrassment.
That is the perfect way to phrase it. And the brilliant part of recording it as a voice memo is the feedback loop it creates.
Because you can listen back to it.
Yes. The script tells the learner to listen back to their recording later, in private, and check their own voice for confidence. Did they sound terrified, or did they sound like they belonged there?
It forces the learner to objectively evaluate their own performance. It moves them from passive, theoretical study to active, real-world application.
It forces you to prove to yourself that you can take up space in that environment.
Wow. Let's take a step back and look at the entire journey of this deep dive.
It's quite a journey.
We started with the very real, very paralyzing anxiety of the effective filter. That exact kind of neurological panic that shuts down your memory and leaves a perfectly intelligent person buying 3 cans of cat food just to escape a building.
And we saw how equipping yourself with functional templates, like the polite template, can effectively rescue you from that panic by bypassing the overloaded brain.
Right. And utilizing pragmatic strategies like asking if something is in stock to signal your savviness to the employee.
We navigated the highly choreographed cultural formulas of the checkout line.
We explored why decoding acronyms like BOGO and BYO and understanding the shift from swiping to tapping is absolutely essential to stop feeling like an outsider.
We challenged the temptation of the self-checkout trap.
And finally, we explore the radical concept of awkward therapy, embracing the intense discomfort of soliloquizing in public to forge genuine social resilience.
It is a really remarkable progression. You are moving from a state of silent paralysis to a state of durable confidence.
I really are.
And I think it leaves us with something quite profound to consider well beyond the scope of language learning.
Oh, what is that?
Well, the source material specifically uses this awkward therapy to master English in a supermarket, right?
Right.
But what if you applied this secret shopper mentality to completely different areas of your life?
Oh, I like where this is going.
What if intentionally enduring a little bit of calculated awkwardness, whether that means being the only person brave enough to ask a quote-unquote stupid question in a high-pressure corporate meeting?
Or being visibly, laughably terrible at a new sport in a crowded public park.
Exactly. What if chasing those funny looks is actually the ultimate life hack for accelerated personal growth?
That is definitely a thought to hold on to. Something for you to mull over the next time you find yourself wandering the aisles, looking for flour, and feeling the urge to run for the exit. Until next time.